Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 44 of the Galactic Window Space Podcast. My name is Nick, and when I go to the gym, I am known as the Orbital Alliance.
And I am still just Tan, also known as Chasing the Milk.
That's right, and we're back for another space and astronomy episode of a podcast here on the interwebs. We're glad everyone here is tuning in with us live on YouTube and also on Twitch. And if you're catching us after the fact, you might be on your favorite audio streaming platform. We appreciate you guys pulling up the replays in your free time or when you're working or whatever it is. We're all just glad you're here because we're here to just talk about space, cool things that we all like to learn about. So, no exception this week, Tan.
Are you wearing my hoodie?
I am. I'm wearing a Chasing the Milk brand Y'all Need Astronomy hoodie. It says it on the back. If I pivot a little bit.
Dope. Yeah.
There we go.
That's right, Tamara.
Yep.
Yeah, it kind of just happened by accident.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yeah, we just happened to be, he logged in. We happened to be wearing the exact opposite of our merch. And
Got the glasses, got the spectacles on tonight too, man.
That's right.
We're looking smart tonight. What do you guys think?
We do what we can. 200 IQ all the way around. Man, we got a big party. People were partying in the live chat before the stream.
I saw that.
We have people hanging in the stream chat before the stream and after the stream. It's a consistent theme.
And we got Tamara setting her alarm clock every Monday. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, right, Tamara? In Slovenia?
Man, it's crazy. Yeah, we got a good bunch of people here. What's up, Ron Colson? Did you catch the launch? The Fram 2 launch is happening like right now, I think. We were talking about that last week. If you guys were familiar, the Fram 2 SpaceX Crew Dragon private mission that's happening, which is a polar launch. So it's the first ever polar launch where they're doing a 90-degree orbit around the Earth. So we're going over the North Pole and the South Pole. It's never been done before. I think it's happening about now. Sometime. I have to look it up. So no, I've not caught it yet, Ron. But I'm excited.
Dude, Fram 2, I want to see.
Yeah, it probably is.
Live updates. Let's see.
Oh yeah, it launched. I saw Trevor Mallman posted his launch photo.
9:46 Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just launched. Wow, like 15 minutes ago?
Dang, okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to catch that replay. I'm too focused on getting the show ready. Just missed it. They are off the coast of South America. Cool.
Nice.
Everyday Astronaut is covering launch. Yeah, he does
such
sweet, great programs. They've got like a van, like a truck, like a production truck, like a broadcast truck, which is pretty cool.
You mentioned him in I think a couple episodes ago, and he did that video on the debunking all the moon stuff.
Yeah.
It was a heck of a watch, man. If you guys have not checked it out, watch it. If you have a friend who questions everything, especially the moon landing, send him that video. Just send him the video.
The only questioning, yeah, right. The only questioning I do is Taco Bell conspiracy theorists.
I know.
People who say Taco Bell is bad. I don't.
Red flag.
It's just not true.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my 2-hour video debunking those myths.
So good to see everyone here. Hello everyone.
You're welcome for the Fram 2 video inspiration. You just took the relay baton, Steph, and you ran with it. So someone passed it to us, we passed it to you, and I have no doubt someone else has been inspired by your video as well. That's awesome.
Is SphereX sending us any pictures yet? I don't know.
Don't know. SphereX.
I don't know. Yeah.
Did you guys watch the? Go ahead, Tan. Sorry.
No. I'm just talking. I'm just thinking out loud.
No worries.
I'm just looking up SphereX stuff. Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Yeah, we'll have to check this out. That's interesting.
Did you guys watch the interview with the astronauts who landed back? I watched the very last few minutes of it. So they did a press conference with SpaceX Crew 9, the NASA contract, commercial crew contract mission, which contained Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore, which if you guys have been paying attention to most major news platforms, not just space news, been that whole stranded astronaut news story, because they've come back home and they did their first press conference since they've returned. So I did catch the end of it. I would like to go back and watch it and hear what they have to say. I know Tan and I have talked about doing an episode dedicated to that and other matters that tie into that. But it's a delicate subject.
To say the least. Yeah.
Yeah. So we will talk about that more in depth, but I'm glad they're doing okay. They're healthy. And from what I heard, they're unfazed, which makes all the sense in the world. So
that's good. It's good news, y'all.
It is good.
Delicate, but interesting.
Doing our best to keep up with you guys in the chat here. Appreciate you guys chiming in. So if you have something to share space related, or you guys want to talk with your space buddies, please, by all means, participate in the live chat. It is a critical part of how our podcast functions. We do love to feature comments as we go when we can, or when we feel like they are relevant. Maybe you guys have a good question or a comment that is pertinent to what we're talking about. Like, we'll do our best to feature you guys when we can. It's one of our favorite parts. Like, honestly, I don't think I'd want to do this if I was just babbling. It's just me babbling along. Like, that'd be boring.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Tan, it's just gonna be Tan from now on, you guys. I'm dipping out. I'm gone. Forget about it.
I'm gonna use the internet. I'm gonna use ChatGPT and see if we can get like a nice little summary for the SphereX. Do you know anything about it, Nick?
I don't.
Okay, let's see.
Is this a device or something that's on the Fram2 mission?
I'm gonna just read chunks of it. SphereX, short for the spectrophotometer for the history of the universe. Epic of reionization and ICES Explorer is NASA's latest space telescope designed to map the entire sky and study millions of galaxies. Launched on March 11th, 2025, aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from Vandenberg, SphereX aims to enhance our understanding of the universe's origins and evolution. We're gonna have to do a whole episode on this. That's incredible. It's crazy that I just really haven't. Honestly, I haven't really heard of it. I've seen the name. I've seen you bring it up before, RJ, but I just don't know much about it.
I don't know much of anything about it either, so I'm learning something.
It's got a 2-year mission, and its plan is to collect data over the 450 million galaxies and more than 100 million stars within the Milky Way. The telescope will create a comprehensive 3D map of the cosmos across 102 different wavelengths of light, offering unprecedented insights onto the formation and development of galaxies. Holy crap, this is kind of overwhelming.
What?
Like in a good way.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, there you go, Blue Eyed.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is a sign of the space age 2.0 at work here, because like I pay attention to space launches and stuff as much as I can, but the cadence that Falcon 9 launches right now is ruthless, and they launch so many payloads, mostly Starlink, but also over U.S. government and private sector and foreign governments. It's nuts. And like missions like this like slip through the cracks for me because I can't keep up with it. Like the launches happen like every other day or more frequent than that. It's like I completely missed this entirely, whereas maybe a few years ago a launch like this would have been out on its own, kind of floating around in between gaps. So this is exciting. I'm glad you guys shared that, because I have no idea otherwise.
Real quick, I want to highlight this real quick. I saw this pop up earlier. We got a new member.
Oh, my James.
My James. If you're here still, welcome to the dark side.
Yes.
And then I also saw that Princess Tamara. Vizem zelem doko vize os jutro. You guys rock.
Boom.
I've been working on my Slovenian.
Dude, how close did he get to it? Tamara, was he well spoken? I'm curious because that sounded good to me, but I don't know anything. So
Like an 8 out of 10 at least.
okay, yeah, give him a out of 10 rating, please.
Yeah, give me an. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
But I appreciate the celebration there. 2 months of membership.
Mm-hmm.
So cool, so cool.
2 months and a new member. Love it.
Oh man. Oh gosh. 30%. She says 30%. That's a 3 out of 10.
Am I dreaming? 30%. You give it a try.
Me?
Yeah, try it.
Oh gosh. Wzem zelin dober veser os jutro.
You gotta say that last part too.
Oh, you guys rock.
Yeah, it had a little twang to it. I like that. It sounded very French.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, I'm missing the mark for sure. If it's in French, it's speaking Slovenian with a French accent.
Mm-hmm.
With a hint of, Midwest American.
Yeah. Ooh, Ron. Yes. Dude, did you hear about this? In Norway.
Yes.
Yes.
Shout out in the chat. Did you guys see this rocket launch that happened like in like a frozen oceanic environment?
Mm-hmm. It was a test fail, but I like to think of it as like you got to have those kind of failures to be able to get to the next step.
Let's add some context here. Was it ISAR? Is that the name of the ISAR Aerospace?
Let's see.
Let me look it up here because there's a really cool video. Yeah, ISAR Aerospace. So it's ISAR.
Okay.
They did a test launch of this rocket, their private rocket, and it's literally next to mountains. Everything's frozen. There's like glaciers right off of the coast there, and they did this launch video where it basically had a 40-second launch. It went up and then started going a little bit wobbly. Then it did a full nosedive straight into the water, not far at all from its launch site, and just totally blew up.
Yeah.
Really cool video. So if you guys missed it, go watch it.
I'm gonna read this. I did a quick little summary here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was on March 30th. The ISAR Aerospace unscrewed Spectrum rocket launched from Norway's Andoya spaceport, but crashed into the sea and exploded approximately 40 seconds after liftoff. They say despite the failure, the CEO Daniel Metzler considered the mission a success, noting that key objectives were met, including a clean liftoff and validation of their flight termination system. The 28-meter rocket was primarily intended to gather data and experience from a real-world launch scenario. This event represents a significant step in Europe's effort to develop independent space launch capabilities, aiming to compete in the commercial satellite market. Dude, hats off to them. I'd say that's a W too, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's historic.
It's a 1099. It's a W4.
Ah.
I couldn't resist. Sorry. That's a tax season joke.
Almost made it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there's so much I have to catch up on.
I know.
In the chat. Okay. First of all, so just to wrap up this ISAR thing, like really, really cool, really amazing to hear that new agencies are testing flight. And yes, they do fail a lot. A lot of these up and coming commercial agencies are just totally bombing their first flights, which is natural. And even the best agencies like NASA, like SpaceX, blew up their rockets before they could get a cadence of launching successfully. So this is totally par for the course, and I'm cheering for them. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got to rewind really quick because I did get a rating, dude. Tamara gave me a 50% on my reading, so I got an F. I got a straight F.
Dang, and I got 30%.
Yeah.
What the heck? That's
she said
fair.
she said I would understand him. So that's crazy. I did.
Wow.
This is wild, dude. I got to start studying up on my Slovenian.
Yeah, dude.
Are they in Duolingo?
Let's get him on the show.
Ron said the Europeans want to be able to not depend on the U.S. companies to reach orbit. I've been hearing a lot of this as well. This seems to be a rumbling that has reached the surface, and I think that's a really good thing. There should be diversity in the marketplace. So, because it just makes it cheaper. It just makes everything becomes cheaper when more people can do it. So that's another step towards expediting a future of regular space launch, which will eventually mean you guys and me and Tan, we can all go to space one day because that means it gets cheaper. So let's go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then I have to really, this is two comments I'm going to feature here. So for you audio listeners, I will read this for you. Blue Eyed in the chat. Space exploration is built on trial and error, which I know what you mean. Error. Every failure is a step towards the next breakthrough. Absolutely. And then she follows up with asterisk error. That's my New York accent.
Error.
Error.
Love it.
And having heard you speak, I
super
know exactly what you mean, and it's great.
Error.
Trial and error.
Royal and error. Welcome in, everyone. See a lot of new people coming in here. All right. We got a party tonight.
We do. 20. There we go.
20. Hi, muy.
20 Personen. 20 Personen ist hier.
She's rocking the merch. Thank you so much. So grateful. The name on the package was funny.
Yeah.
My family was so confused. Ash trash. I thought they just would have known.
That's fantastic. I'm
Good times.
No regrets. You know what? I love doing that with people. If I have nicknames, I like to write their nicknames on packages so that it gets really confusing. I have a friend that I play video games with every week online because he lives in a different state. And we play Halo together a lot. And nice. when you play Halo, they put you in the campaign together. You're playing the main missions together as Master Chief and a second Master Chief, and it's like that's all they can do. So it's kind of like a story breaker. But we decided we'd rename the second Master Chief Master Steve, just because.
Steve.
Yeah. So I sent him a package once titled Master Steve, and it's just what we do. So Ash Trash is, again, I'm gonna use this phrase, par for the course when it comes to me. being a straight up goon. I always do it to remember people's names, especially in contacts. Sometimes I'll have like 3 different Johns, so each one deserves its own nickname. Like, oh, John the lawnmower or the lawn guy or whatever, right? Yeah.
You're actually on my phone as just Nick Orbital Alliance.
Yeah. I had you as Tan chasing milk for a while, and then I updated you. I got I knew your real name. So I did modify you, but
wait, with the last name too?
Yeah.
Did you spell it correctly?
Yep. I'm not going to confirm on the live though.
Yeah. Right. That's actually impressive.
Yeah.
Hold on, they even opened it because they were suspicious. That's so funny.
Oh, we both featured at the same time. My bad. Yeah.
Ash trash.
Like, who's this weirdo sending you stuff? You know what's funny though, Ash? I'm gonna keep this as neutral as possible. You live 3 streets away from family of mine, so that's like literally I've been in your neighborhood like 1,000 times.
You guys probably like passed each other and didn't even know it at some point.
This is actually a true story. Like literally like down the street and around the corner, and then take another turn. You're like, boom, there. I was like, oh, I know exactly where this is.
Joe, this is so funny. At least they didn't throw it right away because it said trash on it. Yeah. True. Well, we're happy. We're happy you got it, and everyone else who received the care package.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. That was, what was it? 2 episodes ago, we did some giveaways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to be able to throw some stuff at you guys as a little bit of a thank you for always being here and showing up and having fun with us and entertaining our shenanigans and continuing to feed this monster that is our podcast.
You guys rock. Well, what do you say? Should we get started on tonight? I'm super excited about the topic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't call it stalking.
I'm just informing.
Yeah, just very curious.
I would say of all the people that, well, maybe not all of them, but certainly one of the closest people who lives to me. She was close to me, so I of course had to investigate. I was like, oh dang, like we got the address. I know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's kick it, dude. You guys, I want to talk about a topic with Tandonite that we've never talked about before. We've maybe mentioned it, but we were like, hey, let's go a little bit more in depth, and we're going to be learning along with you guys. Like, we've got some information queued up, but this is a topic that is not very internalized with us. So hopefully you guys are along for the ride. So buckle up, because we're going to be talking about the Chinese space station known as Tiangong. And I am probably going to butcher many of the pronunciations because they're in Chinese. So we're going to do what we can. And hopefully we all walk out of this one a little bit smarter.
Did you know Tiangong means heavenly palace in Chinese?
Let's go there, man.
I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
You guys, I'm going to feature a picture here really quick. So this picture just came out like last week. There's actually a company, like a satellite called HEO or HEO. I'm not sure. It's probably HEO. And
what the hell?
What the HEO? That's great. I love that. So actually, this satellite is at a higher orbit than most of our spaceships fly, like the ISS, the Tiangong, and it can actually image them like facing Earth. So this is a picture taken from a satellite of the Chinese space station. I don't know what the distance was, like 80 kilometers away or something, like super close. In orbit terms, it's like wickedly close. So here we have it. This space station is much smaller than the International Space Station.
I was just going to ask that. Like, how much different is it?
Yeah. Sorry, did you have more to that?
No.
So yeah, much smaller. If it serves me, this serves me correctly, I think I read that it's like 30% of the International Space Station's volume. So a lot less. So to put into perspective here too, China kind of does its own thing when it comes to human spaceflight. And not entirely, but the reason I wanted to feature this is because when we talk about the International Space Station so much, that is a partnership of well over 15 different countries, primarily the United States, Russia, Japan, Canada, and the European Space Agency, or ESA, which is a smattering of countries like Italy and England and Germany, and so on. There's a huge grouping that participates in that. But all these countries came together to build the ISS, and that's since 1998 until now, and they operate it and they function. They share in the research and the studies and the resources and the materials. China was excluded from that due to geopolitical tensions.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes. Which,
wow.
It's one of those things where I'm sure from either perspective, you could probably come up with two different narratives, and who's to say which one is true?
That's fair. Yeah.
I'm sure from the ISS side of things and the partnerships that participate in ISS, you could point a finger at China and be like, well, you're not playing nice, so we don't want you to be a part of this. And the other side, maybe from China's perspective, they could look at the rest of the ISS countries and be like, well, you guys aren't playing nice, so we're going to go do our own thing. It's
Mhm.
probably a bit of both. So there's probably a little bit of understanding that has to be had as to why they made their own space station. But I just wanted to at least make it clear that it is a fact that they operate on their own with this. This is an entirely Chinese built space station, and they do not have any major international partners that I know of, at least. And someone please correct me if I'm wrong. They sent up all the modules. They sent up their spacecraft. Only Chinese spacecraft docked to it, and that's it. So that's kind of how it is.
Wow, super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The lone wolf.
This is the one. You should have heard me when I asked Tan if he wanted to talk about this week.
I wanted to. You know what?
China #1.
Yeah, we were laughing about how this would be the only appropriate time that I've ever used that in the history of using that. And it feels so weird using it correctly. It's like, I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So let me pull up that picture again one more time. This one here. So let's take a look at the actual construction of this space station. There are 3 modules as a part of it, and there's 4 solar arrays. So it's kind of hard to see, but it's basically like a plus sign. And the top part here is actually one of the docked spacecraft. I believe that's the crew ship up at the top with the little black solar panels. And then the white chunks in the middle, like kind of like a letter T, are the modules. So there's a habitation module, which was the first one, which I think was called Tianhe or Tianhu. I don't know how you say it in Chinese. But that's the
Harmony of the Heavens.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So that's the very first one. And then they added 2 laboratory modules, similar to what the ISS does, where they do perform science and experiments later. And let's see, do we have the Mengtian is one of them, and Wentian. So those are the names. I don't know what they translate to, but those are the names of the modules. And from what I understand, the purpose of the CSS, the Chinese Space Station, or Tiangong, is to perform science and research on the human body and earthborn experiments that need another perspective in a microgravity environment, to test crew capabilities of long duration space flight. Just be like, hey, can we actually keep humans up there for months at a time and have that be a stepping stone towards taking people to the moon and Mars? It's a pretty amazing feat that they're doing this by themselves, but that's kind of what it's there for, at least that we know of. And something that we should mention too is they kind of play their cards close to the vest, because Chinese culture and governmental culture, to my understanding, I've never been to China, but from what I've heard, is in a lot of ways they really like to curate their news and their media exposure for their people. So there's very limited amounts of information available about what they do and how they do it when it comes to human spaceflight. Yeah, there's like a secretive edge. So we don't know a ton, but what we do know is that it is advancing the cause of human spaceflight, and that's a really great thing, and I've seen Tiangong in the sky before.
Same.
You've seen it too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's actually pretty bright. You can get a really good sighting of it. Not quite as bright as ISS because it's smaller, but we do have 2 space stations, floating around up there. So it's pretty cool opportunity.
You guys ever want to track them? There are plenty of apps and websites that you guys can use. I really like Heavens Above. You can pretty much track anything up in space, and that's how we were able to know that the Tiangong was doing like an overhead pass one night. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so should probably note too that this is not China's first attempt at a space station. They actually had a Tiangong 1 and Tiangong 2 that were sort of experimental, and they were much smaller. It was basically like a module and a crew craft that would dock to it. Then I think it was like 2 modules, and they deorbited those. And then it was 2021 that this one started. They sent their first module up. So, and then I think by the next year they completed the space station with its 3 modules. So this is a very recent craft compared to the ISS. So it's much newer, and it can crew 3 people at a time and up to 6 at maximum. So they can have a 3-person crew operating it for a long duration mission, and then they can have a second crew come up, overlap a little, and then they can swap out, and then the 3 will leave and 3 will stay. So it's got a much smaller capacity, but that's okay. That's just what it needs and what it can do.
This is just super interesting. I'm reading here. It says, though it's operated independently, China has invited international scientists and projects aboard Tiangong.
Oh,
It's seen as an alternative platform for research, especially as the International Space Station nears retirement. That's cool.
dude. Okay.
Yeah. Nice.
Here's a picture of the interior, and it has a fully stacked crew. And there's a couple things I would mention when I look at this as somebody who's spent a lot of years looking at the International Space Station in videos from the inside. Number one, it's very clean. It's a much cleaner layout than, like the American laboratory or the Russian service module. On the ISS, there's been so much like, sorry, I was like mid-sentence. Do you see what I see?
Yeah.
Blue-eyed in the chat goes, China number 6. Because there's 6 crew members. Sorry. Oh man, I gotta compose myself.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. That was good. That was good.
It was good. The ISS has had a much higher traffic rate for cargo and experiments, and probably a much higher budget for sending equipment. So if you look at the ISS interiors, it is just covered in wires floating around. There's computers and cameras and experiments,
Soda
and
cans and food. Just straight to like a party.
Space mac and cheese floating by.
Yeah, it's like a frat house in there.
Yeah.
It is wires everywhere though, for sure. It is pretty chaotic looking.
Yeah, and it's gotten like way more complicated over the years. If you look at videos from like 2010 and then look at videos from now, it's like a totally different place. It's so busy, so jam-packed. But it's life lived in it, So if you look at this picture of the interior of Tiangong, there's like 3 wires, but they all have these equipment racks and everything, which is very similar. You got foot holders and handlebars so you can grab on and fly around in it. So
that's cool.
Pretty similar. But yeah, so they, of course, these are all, Chinese nationals. Like there's people, they all have the Chinese flag on their uniforms. So that will differ, of course, from when you see crews from the ISS, when they do crew photos all together. You'll see Russians and Brits and Japanese and Americans and Canadians all in the same picture, and they all got their flags and stuff. So it's just really interesting. Something else that's I've noticed, and this is maybe a topic in itself, but the Chinese Space Agency is called CMS, which is the China Manned Space Program, which is actually what it's called. And then they have like the Chinese Manned Space Agency, so CMSA. So obviously there's one word in there that kind of is a little bit misplaced in Western culture these days, which is that word manned. And it's kind of become a hot topic now because the world is becoming more inclusive and trying to equalize the environment when it comes to gender and race and all that. So the word manned has almost become like a curse word in Western culture when it comes to space agencies.
Really?
Because we used to say, hey, this is a manned space flight, like back in the Apollo days. because at the time only men were in the program,
Mm-hmm.
and they only allowed men at the time. And it wasn't until was it Sally Ride that went to space, the first American woman in space? Is that right? You know, we've had since like the 80s. You know, then we introduced females into the space program, and there were some earlier programs, but they didn't have actual space flights. But we've now swapped out the word manned for crewed.
Mm.
So if you listen to a NASA live stream of like the Crew 10 launch, whatever, they're like, this is a crewed space flight. So it's a crewed rocket or a crewed capsule or crewed mission. You'll never hear manned. But I still, it's hard because I do hear people say manned, and I also see people get chewed out for it at this point because it's
Interesting.
it's a touchy subject, and I understand the need to transition that phrase out of the language, but still have to acknowledge that it does have a historical context, that maybe it wasn't meant to be exclusive, but in this day and age, it does have some exclusivity to it. So, but I do notice when we tie this back around to the Chinese program, they've kept that word in there. So I guess the direct translation is manned. So, but if you look at the picture, I'm going to pull it back up here. There is a female crew member in the back left, from the second from the left. So they do launch females into space. So it's just a cultural difference. I don't know anything more than that, but I thought it was worth noting, at least, that the way space agencies and countries handle things is just a little bit different. And in this case, when studying Tiangong, this is how it goes, you know?
It's very interesting. I really like their this is completely unrelated, but I really like their suits. I think it's very simple and clean. They have like the flag. Is that what it looks like? Yeah, on the chest. And I can't even tell, but it just looks like it's a very minimalist design. I'm not seeing too many crazy like pockets and compartments. I think it looks cool.
For sure. I agree.
I want one.
Let's go, dude. Yeah.
Let's do it.
I've always wanted a flight suit. I know you've got one.
Yeah, let's get one.
Yeah.
Let's get a Chinese one.
Yeah. I would do it. Let's go.
Moon legs, what up?
What's happening?
Very cool.
You guys, if you're just tuning into the show right now, we're about 40 minutes in to episode 44. We're glad you're all here tuning in live on Twitch and YouTube, or potentially an audio episode after the fact. But we're glad you're hanging out with us tonight. We're talking about the Tiangong Chinese Space Station, which we've never really delved into, but we're going in deep tonight to try to educate not only ourselves, but you guys, because there's a lot going on in space, more than the ISS, more than SpaceX. China has a really big slice of the pie, and we thought it was absolutely worth doing some coverage on that, so we can all know a little bit more. So welcome on in. Glad you're here.
And speaking of stuff that China's done, I know Stardust mentioned in the chat there's a rover on the dark side, on the far side of the moon.
Yes.
I think U2 is that. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's spelled YUTU. U2 rover is part of the Chang'e 4 mission. It was becoming the first spacecraft to land on the moon's far side, January 3rd, 2019, before the world shut down. What a crazy time.
Right.
What a historic moment to happen. What a historic thing to happen just before everything goes crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's continues to function, marking as the longest lasting lunar rover to date. Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I remember when it landed. I do remember seeing it in the news, but I haven't heard anything from it, which maybe speaks more to what I was saying before about them being sort of hush hush about their findings. They're not like NASA where they would share stuff on social media in the moment. You know, I don't think many, or if any, of their agencies are on global social media platforms. I think I don't think many of those, like Facebook and X and YouTube, I don't think many of them are allowed in China.
Correct. Yeah.
They have like their own social networks.
Yeah. Alex says hard to find pictures of the dark side rover. Yeah, I mean that probably explains why. I'm trying to find some right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So
Red book.
something I wanted to bring up too is something that's unique about the Chinese space program and their human space flight is that they are not called astronauts. So if you are a crew member who goes to space or you're part of their space program, you're not an astronaut. You're a taikonaut.
I've never heard that. Taikonaut?
Taikonaut. Yeah. So this isn't the only country that does their own thing. So Russians are called cosmonauts. They're not called astronauts. But
That's right. Yeah.
I think just about every other country, Americans, Europeans, and anywhere else, like some of the Arab countries, Middle Eastern countries, South America, like they're all astronauts. So astronauts, cosmonauts, and taikonauts are basically the three names that you can be if you're a spacefaring human being.
Have a good night, Princess Tamara.
Good night. So
Sweet
long.
dreams.
Thanks for coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's very interesting that they've got their own name. So when we're referring to this picture that we were showing before here, these are all taikonauts. You're not Chinese astronauts. You would
Interesting.
technically be incorrect in saying that.
Taikonauts.
Mm-hmm. So I'm
Very
curious
cool.
there's something I don't have the answer to, and I'm curious to know, like, like growing up in American culture, people like Alan Shepard and John Glenn, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, these guys are all American.
Giants.
They're all American heroes, right? Are taikonauts heroes to the youth of China?
I would say so. Absolutely.
Do they have legends in their taikonaut program that get them fired up about STEM fields and exploring space?
I would argue that it is on par with us, or maybe even more.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Because and this is just my 2 cents of speculating and what I know about their culture, but it just seems like they have their stuff like really dialed in. When it comes to like education and just everything, it seems like they really kind of go nuts over there, man. So my speculation is that yes, they probably have the same idols that just like we do, but maybe even like they're probably even more motivated. And I also wonder if they have the same problem that we do about having space. Seems like it's kind of I wouldn't say like dying, but like I wonder if they are having the amount of interest that they have is more than ours. It just feels like there's this kind of like slow decline, or at least like a sideways thing, right?
Like a plateau.
Exactly. Yeah, like where we aren't excited like we used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but I just kind of wonder where they stand on over there.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's a really good thought. You and I talked about this briefly, I think, offline at one point when preparing for this talk, because we had thrown around like, hey, it'd be great to get somebody on who knows more about this. And I was like, I don't even know where to begin with trying to connect with somebody who is actually a part of this program, and the actual like geopolitical implications that would be involved with trying to talk about this. It's an interesting subject,
Yeah.
But I would like to, because it's important, like if there are people, growing up in China who are kids or youth or students, if they have the opportunity to look ahead and see people inspire them to go to space, I'm like, that's so critical. Like that's happening and that's important. I was like, whatever we can do to like amplify that signal, like we should be doing it, but I don't know how.
Yeah. We might have to download Red Book.
Yes.
Freya, I'm in. Tanzanite, I'm in.
Ooh, here,
Yes.
Ma James says, Taikon equals space in Chinese, hence Taikonaut.
Oh, no
Okay.
way. That's cool. Icon.
A little bit of etymology.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Man. So there's a couple things I wanted to hit with this that we haven't touched yet. And one of them is that China has their own plan for persisting or pursuing human spaceflight into the future. And they get to operate at their own pace. So just like the US, they are also reaching to put boots on the moon and boots on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So they are using Tiangong as a stepping stone to learn how to do that successfully. The United States, of course, is full speed ahead. Well, maybe not full speed. They're speed ahead. Streets ahead if you're a Community fan.
W show.
Yeah. W. Pierce Hawthorne.
Oh my god.
If you don't know, then your street's behind. We have the Artemis program in motion to actually put people on the moon again. But the potential for China to actually make it to the moon first is actually really high.
It might happen.
And we talked about this. Was that 2 episodes ago?
Mm-hmm.
Just like what would the implications be for Americans who are used to winning all the time and are spoiled by achievement over the last 80 years or so. China might be the top contender for being able to actually have their government put humans back on the moon first. And it's going to be interesting to see, but I in my opinion, it should be something that's hey, huge congratulations. That is a massive feat, win for humanity. China may have been the one to do it, but win for humanity. But they have this sort of, they have a program, and let me see, I just saw it here a second ago. Where did I?
SoCal Gloria says, we are skipping along after 50 years.
Skipping along. There is, where did I see this? It's going to drive me mad. They have a program that's got steps, and Tiangong is step 3 or something like that. Third step of the China manned space program. Let's see, is this where I saw it?
Interesting.
Nuts. Okay, well, maybe that's part of this thing. I know they've got they rolled out new steps for it, which is the future portions of it are to put people on the moon, put people on the Mars. So they have a vision, is my point. Sorry, that was kind of took a long way to get there. China does have a vision to do it, and NASA right now is in a little bit of disarray with Artemis, and I've heard rumors that they might actually nerf it, which is sad.
Really?
Yeah. With commercial spaceflight becoming more prominent and operating at a faster speed of innovation, like the SLS, the Space Launch System, and Orion is actually becoming, it's obsolete. It's built on old hardware, just kind of souped up and
obsolete.
Yeah,
that's crazy to think about.
I mean, that's maybe the wrong word. I do want to give credit where credit's due. It's still fantastic technology, but they use the space shuttle RS-25 engines on the bottom of it. So they did not redesign engines for it. It's basically a shuttle mimic. It's got an orange external fuel tank, 2 solid rocket boosters on the side. Only instead of strapping a space plane to the side of it, they put a capsule on the top. So it's a tried and true method. They just sort of re-engineered it. And look at what Falcon 9 has done. SLS is not even reusable. It's one and done. And then it's taken Artemis 1 launched in 2021, 2022? Maybe it's 2022.
Beats me.
And Artemis 2 has been delayed, and it's still delayed. It's supposed to launch, was it this year? It's supposed to launch this year?
It got scrubbed so many times. I don't know.
they keep pushing it back.
Yeah.
Artemis 3 is now pushed back even further because it requires some of the commercial commercial sector stuff. It's kind of a mess. And there's rumors that they might actually just retask the SLS rockets, whatever they have started to build, into cargo and not crew. Because it is a heavy lift rocket and it's a wickedly powerful rocket. So, but the pace that once Starship gets up and running, what's the point in SLS and Orion?
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous. You can put 100 people on a Starship, and it can go to the moon and Mars and back. Orion is a little capsule that requires a space station to dock to. It can hold like 4 people. It's kind of maybe it can hold 7 at some point, but I think it's spotted for 4. But anyway, long-winded answer. I think China is going to be ramping up that journey much more quickly, and I think they have much less in the way, governmentally speaking. Congress has to approve everything for NASA. It's a government agency. Funding is already low in America, and there's just there's a lot of hurdles. But I think China, from my understanding, is that they're able to move a lot more quickly. There's a lot more national support for it, and they kind of just get things done. So it's kind of going to be the American commercial sector versus China, in my opinion.
Agreed. Here, so Tanzanite sent me some cool facts. She used DeepSeek. How perfect is that?
Ooh.
Going into the steps. So they had like all their future plans.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tiangong 1 was 2011. Tiangong 2 is 2016. I'm going to start from step 3. Full space station construction, 2021 to 24. Build a permanent modular space station. Okay, that's where we're at. And then, okay, current and future plans. So from 24 to 2030 and up. Operational phase, hosting 3 to 6 astronauts in rotating crews, 6-month missions. The international cooperation, open to foreign astronauts. ESA astronauts training for future missions and joint experiments. That's really cool. I love that. Moon and beyond. Tiangong serves as a stepping stone for China's lunar ambitions, e.g. international lunar research with Russia by 2030. China's space station is a major achievement demonstrating its growing space capabilities and long-term commitment to human space exploration. Very cool.
Huh. Okay.
Dude, you know what? Like, based on everything that you're saying, they're on the fast track. I could totally see them surpassing us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a surprise to me if that happened, you know?
Right.
It wouldn't be like, holy crap, no way. It's like, oh, damn. It's
Right.
like Nikon and Canon, the camera companies, right? Kind of being at the top for so long. They're like, well, you don't really need to try anymore. And then Sony comes out with the new camera, and then all these other companies are doing the same thing. And now they're kind of like, oh, we should probably start doing stuff again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that we aren't, but just like overall globally, I think everyone will see this and hopefully use it as like a motivation.
Mm-hmm. Man, my brain's going 1,000 miles per hour. I'm trying to like collect all my thoughts.
Very interesting.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Forgive my brain lapse here. I'm like,
Pretty good. Space is Beautiful says, I 100% believe that China is going to surpass the U.S. when it comes to space exploration and getting things into orbit. It looks like they have so far. Wow. Yeah. You know what it would be so nuts if they were the first ones to reach Mars. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be pretty wild.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
Tanzanite surprised me.
Man,
Interesting.
it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and a recurring theme I think we've had here on the show is how we talk about the general public, at least in America, because that's where my sample size comes from, is that there's a very low understanding and comprehension of what's even happening in space at all. It is most people's knowledge ends in their third grade classroom, and is their understanding is basically the Apollo missions, and that's it. Like they're like they know we went to the moon. The end. So what's curious to me is, the lack of education about what other countries are doing, let alone our own. Which is why one of the reasons I wanted to touch on this tonight was because I do think it's important to be aware of like what other countries are doing, because it's not all nefarious, it's not all malicious, like maybe news media sources will paint it. Like there's some really solid learning and discovery happening aboard Tiangong, and there are human beings inhabiting that space station who are having the time of their lives, like exploring and advancing science, for the cause of humanity, one way or another, and that's a cool thing. And I just really wish that was more prominent and spoken more clearly to everyday people. So my hope is maybe through this episode, more people will have that understanding now going forward, that, forget your geopolitical stereotypes or preconceived notions of another country like China. But this is happening, and they have a beautiful space station that is not only a beacon for their country, but you can see it too. You can look up in the night sky, see this space station, and be charmed by the thought that there are humans on that, soaring at 18,000 miles per hour. And that's exciting. So they are setting a path forward for all of humanity in their own way. And that's a really cool thing.
That was beautiful. That was so beautiful.
So beautiful.
So true. We got to stop just labeling. Just labeling everyone. Right. I think it's, and I know it's easier said than done, but like sometimes I think humans forget that our neighbors, the people that we see, this is all of our first time at this, like thing called life. Like we're all doing it for the first time, even your parents.
Yep.
Even the people that are trying to get out in space, it's their first time too, just like you, and they're doing their best. I think the world would be in a lot better place, but I'm hopeful,
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And, I'm thinking ahead to, let's say, 30 to 50 years from now. The International Space Station will no longer be in service. They will either decommission it entirely and deorbit it, or they will separate it into pieces and build smaller space stations, based on what modules they decide to keep. Eventually, Tiangong will come down, just like its predecessors. Also, just like the Russian Mir space station, the American Skylab space station before it, and the Russian Salyut space stations before it. There's a legacy of these habitations in orbit. But it makes me wonder, like, what is the next step? Is there a chance that we could all be together? China, Russia, America, Canada, ESA, the European agencies. Like, is there still hope? That's my big question. Can we see it? Like, what if we could see cosmonauts, astronauts, and taikonauts all in the same module, advancing the cause of human spaceflight together?
A utopia.
Spacetopia.
Spacetopia.
Now with roller coasters and funnel cake.
Hopefully. I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
It would be a wild turn of events if we could get, American astronauts on Tiangong, like partner with them and send an American astronaut on is it a Shenzhou rocket or there's like two different, I can never remember what the cargo and the crew craft names are. Trying drawing a huge blank, but like what we do with the Russians, like we put American astronauts on the Soyuz, and they put cosmonauts on our Crew Dragon right now. We're launching Russians. It'd be so cool. I'd be here for it.
Yeah. Same.
Here's a little space history. In 1995, the Russian Mir space station was active at the time, and it's a Russian Mir. The Mir space station, and Mir in Russian is peace. For the record,
cool.
It means peace. Was a Russian exclusive space station, and then STS-74, I believe, which is the shuttle 74th mission, launched in partnership with Russia to introduce a new mating adapter so that the shuttle could dock to it, because previously it was only Soyuz that could dock to it.
Cool.
And it was a success. They did install it. And then from then on, they were able to send a couple of space shuttles to Space Station Mir, the Russian space station. And I believe
no way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. So
that's huge.
The reason why I brought that up about Tiangong and having like Americans on there or some other country is because that's happened. It's happened where geopolitical barriers dropped and partnerships were formed for a higher cause, and guess what? Like that was all at the same time. That those were introductory examples. They were tests, because at that same time, the powers that be were designing and building the International Space Station. So while they were putting Americans on Mir in 95, the first modules were being constructed for ISS, and that partnership was being put in place between the Russians and Americans to put up the first modules of that. So like it paves the way, like
there's hope.
There's hope.
Space is going to bring us together, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to kind of piggyback of what you're saying, Tanzanite here was doing some more deep seek. Here, I'm just going to pin it. NASA hopes the shift will make... the ISS will likely be replaced by multiple commercial stations rather than a single government-led project. And NASA hopes this shift will make low Earth orbits more sustainable and open to business and research. Yeah, the market should be for all. Maybe space, the one thing that is just within reach is going to be the one thing that holds us together.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take something outside the planet, outside the box.
Right.
Maybe, but
yeah, I would jump on this too. Let's see, let me reread it here. Going back to this one, talking about multiple commercial stations. Right. So Axiom Space is building theirs right now. Originally, the Axiom station, it's supposed to dock to the forward part of the International Space Station. They were supposed to add 3 modules.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah. It was going
to dock anything about this. That's so cool.
Node 2 on the front end, and then they were going to later detach it so that it would form its own station. So they were going to like use it as like an anchor point. From what I understand, it was recent news that they may not be doing that anymore. But I'll have to do more learning. But we got so many other companies that are building space stations. Orbital Reef, which is like Boeing and Blue Origin and Sierra Space are teaming up. Like, I think you're right. The commercial stations will be the successors. Right, dude, sound like Minecraft right there, man. Did you just like harvest some cobblestone right there? It's true. I don't think governments are out of the game, but to that point though, about them not being the next step, if the ISS is supposed to be deorbited around 2030, 2031, as it stands, there is no public talk about replacement. And if there is going to be one and have some crossover, they need to be talking about that yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as far as I know, has not been happening. There's certainly not any announcement, because the Artemis program, they're building Gateway, which is the lunar space station.
Mm-hmm. So
there will be, it's supposed to be, it's being built. I've seen pictures of it. The Gateway it's like a kind of a Tiangong sized station that will be around the moon. So their focus is there. Mm-hmm.
How cool is that?
That's where the Orion craft is supposed to dock, and then the astronauts will get off, live in Gateway, and then a lunar shuttle, so to speak, which is supposed to be either Blue Origin or SpaceX with Starship. They will have their it's the Blue Moon, I think, is the
Nice.
the Blue Origin craft will be docked and uncrewed. Then the astronauts will transfer to that and go down to the surface, and they'll come back up on that, dock to Gateway, hop over to Orion, and go back home. That's kind of how that will work.
Sweet. That's pretty dang cool.
Hey, it's pretty dang cool.
There's so much happening. Tanzanite, you just get up on the show here.
I know, right?
Just having fun with the deep seek.
That is
I
cool.
saw this comment earlier from Mod James. It's very interesting. He says, national pride needs to take a back seat on all sides before we can see a truly unifying event. But I personally would love to see it. Same.
Dang,
Same.
I'm gonna feature that up here, so you all can read it.
Pride, national pride.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wall, man. That's a brick wall. That's a steel wall.
It is.
That's a tough one, man.
It's one of those things where it's tough and it's yet an illusion.
It's very true. It's an illusion. Yeah.
It's a falsehood. I'm trying to come up with a comparison, but it's or like some kind of an analogy.
It's like, yeah, no, I know what you mean. You're, it's so true though.
It's a curtain that has a brick wall pattern on it, and you look at it and be like, dang, that's a freaking brick wall. I'm not going to run into that. And it's just a curtain. It's just a curtain.
That's good.
You know, you can run through it. And then there's a brick wall behind the curtain. But yeah, for real, I do. That is true. I think there's a lot of validity to that. And yet it's one of those things where it's like, it's just a choice. You know, that toxic national pride, it's just a choice. That's all it is. And I fear there's a lot of us, particularly in our country, where it gets in the way in an unhealthy way. And that's unfortunate, but they'll never go away.
Yeah.
Entirely.
I'm trying to think of something positive to say on it, but I don't know. I mean, you're right. We're cooked. We're cooked.
We're cooked.
We're so screwed.
Man.
I mean, what's it going to take? Like, what is the catalyst? Like, does it have to be this giant meteor that some cataclysmic event that brings people together? I don't know, man. It's the recent like earthquakes. If you've been keeping up with any of the footage or news on it, it's so sad.
It's in Myanmar, right?
Thailand. But you see people coming together, and it's like, well, there's that catalyst, something extremely unfortunate, but people will put everything aside to help their neighbors.
Right.
I hate to say it, man, but I feel like there just has to be some kind of catalyst like that for us to see the same, whether that's a global war,
right,
or what the dinosaurs saw, man. I don't know. We need to go to space now. Like, we have to go.
Aliens. We need aliens.
Yeah. That would be it. That would be the ultimate catalyst.
Thanks for the
yes.
For the idea, Gloria. Was that Zoidberg? Was that...
Yeah. Aliens would be the perfect catalyst. And that's a whole other discussion too, man. Like, how people would react.
Yeah.
Someone would be cool. Someone like, yeah, finally, take me. And then people would be like, get out of here, my property. Yeah. It would just be all kinds of, it would be chaotic.
I said, you're on my property. Like Foghorn Leghorn. with the aliens.
Oh, man. That's what we need.
It's okay, Gloria. I knew what you meant. All good.
Don't let it happen again. Sherry, welcome in.
How's it going? You guys, 25 people tuning in live in the moment here right now on all the platforms. Yeah, I'm curious though, how many of you guys are watching on Twitch? I haven't been monitoring it. I think I saw one or two. If you're watching on Twitch, can you shout out a comment? We'll call you out here. I just want to say hello.
Saw
give us
some bots over there.
It's just bots, yeah. I would love to have that data and to thank you guys for tuning in on that platform, because it's just something we've been trying for a couple weeks, actually a couple of months at this point. But who knows? But we appreciate you guys tuning in with us tonight on this beautiful Monday. It's still Monday for most of us. But yeah, if you are new, so glad that you've stopped on by to learn about space and or astronomy. We do podcasts every Monday night, 9 p.m. Central Time in the U.S. So you're always welcome to tune into the live show here, or you can catch it later on your favorite audio streaming platform.
I was just going to say, and as of recent, we are on all major audio platforms. Nick, I've been listening to almost every episode every night to try to get us some sense.
Yeah.
I hope I'm making us some money. I literally would just, I also like listening it too, so I can kind of learn from myself, and also just try to listen to it and pretend I'm listening to it as someone who doesn't know about the show. All right. But yeah, it's cool. It's really cool to be able to have it as just on an audio only platform. I actually prefer it.
Do you?
I do. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I can't and let me know in the chat too what you guys think, but sometimes I can't sit and watch something, even if it's really interesting. I'll catch myself moving around or checking emails or doing something. But when I'm listening to it, I can multitask and still be able to retain a lot of that information. And I think it's because the lack of me being able to see it, I am just super tuned in with my ear.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That could just be me. So
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can. That totally makes sense. There might be a special about it. Richard Jones dropping in 5 gifted memberships. I am curious who.
W's in the chat for Richard Jones.
That's right. Everybody drop some W's. Go. Thank you very much for that support.
Holy crap! 5 gifted subs, baby. Let's go.
Let's see who got it.
We eating good tonight.
Thank
you so much, man. As always.
All right, here I'm checking to the chat here. Okay. Cena Chandler gifted one. Darth Exceed gifted one. JC gifted membership. Tiffy gifted one, and Barb B70 was gifted one. So everybody, if you guys are watching, if you're lurking, cheers to you guys for snagging a membership tonight. You guys get to get a nice little star next to your name in the chat. You get special emotes for the live chat. All the goods.
Also a W for you guys too. Every single one of you guys who support all the W's. Yeah. All 26 of you guys in here. Oh my god, love it. You guys are freaking awesome.
I've been plugging this. We've been plugging this. I'm gonna plug it again. But you guys, we are in motion on a very special celebration for episode 50. We are doing things. We are planning. Tan and I are actually probably about like waist deep in this now, which is really exciting.
Say no more.
Say no more. Oh, come on.
That's it.
I'm not going to spoil it, but there will. What I am going to say is there will be a week coming up here soon where we will share with you what we're doing, and we're going to share it with you ahead of time, which we're very excited about. So, would encourage you guys to keep hanging out with us as often as you can, so that you can learn what that is, because this one will be unlike any episode we've done, guaranteed.
We say that every episode.
Yeah, but come on, dude.
For sure. Yeah.
Someone who knows this is not the same.
This it just might be the coolest episode ever. Yeah, we don't want to spoil it, but just know, um, dude, we honestly wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for you guys. Straight
Mhm.
up, you guys are a big part of it. Um, especially when it comes to like, what do you want to give the people? Like, what do we think? All of our followers, all of you guys, what's something that you guys would like? You know, that's a big part of our thought process when it comes into shows, specifically this little surprise. You know, so just
Mhm.
stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yep.
Wear the spacesuit for the 50th episode. I can do that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just be sipping milk.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. We can
Yes.
arrange that.
We can do that. We can do that. Scam. The spam. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You guys are crazy.
Seriously, yeah, you guys are awesome. And for those of you guys that are listening, you guys are awesome as well. We've been getting some pretty nice reviews. So everyone who left a 5-star review on Spotify or whatever platform you guys use, seriously, thank you so much. If you have not done yet, side eyeing, but please consider it, and only do it if you truly feel like we deserve the 5 stars. We are open to any kind of feedback, but 5 stars only, please.
Straight to jail, Tan.
Yeah. No, we seriously value your feedback. So
I heard this today. I read this today, Tan.
okay.
Why haven't aliens visited Earth yet?
Why?
Bad reviews, only 1 star in the solar system.
That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Star. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Oh my gosh.
Tesla Cybertruck giveaway.
Oh gosh.
It's gonna get burnt down as soon as
I know.
I don't know if I want to give you guys the burden.
No, yeah, for real.
We'll wait till things cool down. Nick got dad jokes.
I always got dad jokes. I'm an inexhaustible source of terrible humor.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Ooh, I just thought of something. I read this earlier. Can I plug something that's
Plug-
unrelated to this? Kind of.
Plug away. Please do.
Okay. This is so nice. I truly enjoyed your new deep space video, guys. I the last video I posted on YouTube was probably like 8 months ago, or like the actual like last real video. If you guys haven't seen it, please check it out, and also leave a 5-star review, or like and subscribe is the equivalent. But yeah, say something in the comment. But most importantly, just watch it and let me know what you think. It was a very special video to me.
Everybody go leave a dad joke in the comment section on Tan's new
Yes.
video.
Yes.
And tell them that Nick sent you.
Mm-hmm. and for those of you guys that are listening, my personal YouTube is just Chasing the Milk. So youtube.com/Chasing the Milk, or just type in Chasing the Milk in the search bar and you'll find me. But thank you for the kind words.
Oh yeah, everybody go do it. As soon as this stream ends,
Mm-hmm.
go straight there. That's what you're gonna do. Nick reminds me of my high school sociology teacher with how many dad jokes he cracks. Says space is beautiful. Yeah, I mean, my jokes are like paper. They're terrible. I had to get
Richard
one.
Jones, I did see that. He asked, "Did you see the Cybertruck with Toyota written on the back?" I laughed so freaking hard. At
It
that.
was really good. I saw
I'm
that
like,
too.
yeah,
Pretty
It's-
creative.
yeah, smart. Hopefully, he gets a pass.
Maybe eventually it'll wear away like in Toy Story with the Pizza Planet truck, and at the end it just says "Yo."
Oh yeah.
And I'll just like the rest of it splits and peels off.
Mm-hmm. Toyota.
Oh my gosh. All right, you guys, what do you say we bring this one home? Hour 20. That's good enough. I'm just pushing people away at this point with my dumb jokes. So let's just cut him off. This is like
We've lost 3 people.
he's gone too far.
They probably left from laughing so hard, man. They just couldn't take it.
Right?
Yeah, let's bring it home. This was a pretty awesome episode. Thank you for choosing this topic. I really don't know much about the Tiangong, and hopefully you guys learned something. Like Nick was saying earlier, we were kind of just figuring this out together too. So we appreciate you guys being so patient with us and just allowing us to share things, educate y'all.
Right. In real time.
Mm-hmm.
Real time education. That'll be our term for it, which is coining
RTE.
it.
Yeah.
RTE.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool.
You guys, you can find us on the social media platforms that you all know. You can find Nick, that's me, at the Orbital Alliance. You can find Tan, that's I'm pointing the wrong way. This guy at Chasing the Milk. Wherever you find your social media posts, and you guys can connect with us there. We'll do our best to say hello, and share with us the things you're learning. Tag us in posts that you make, in pictures you take, in places you go. You like that? Was that poetic?
I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
That's the whole point of this show originally, was to be connecting with people who love things that we love. So don't be strangers. Please tag us and say hello. And next week, you know the drill. We'll be back here on a Monday night. That'll be April 7th at 9 p.m. Central Time, doing another podcast, episode 45, coming in hot.
Mm-hmm. I want to add one more thing before we farewell.
Yes.
For those of you guys that comment on our videos, just know that goes way further than you think. One, we appreciate it. It lives on there forever. And it just shows that you guys want to be involved. So not only does it help with the algorithm and everything else, but seriously, we love reading your comments. So even if you don't get to like reply right away or whatever, just know that we see them. We see them. So thank you. And yeah, y'all have a great night.
Oh, yeah. You know the drill. We'll see you all on the other side.